Hello and welcome to ScaleUp Radio Shorts, brought to you by Smart90, the proven 90-day execution system for scaling businesses. I'm Kevin Brent, and with me, as always, is Granger Forson.
Hello, Kevin. In this monthly theme episode, we're tackling a subject that makes many leaders uncomfortable, but is absolutely critical for growth: the power of constructive conflict.
That's right, Granger. Let's be honest, most of us are conflict averse. The word itself feels negative. It brings up images of arguments, tension, and dysfunction. We're taught to smooth things over and keep the peace.
It's almost programmed into us. Don't rock the boat. In a business setting, that translates into what Patrick Lencioni famously calls artificial harmony. And it's a huge, often invisible barrier to scaling.
It's a trap, isn't it? A comfortable, quiet trap. Everyone in the meeting seems aligned. Everyone's nodding along, but you leave the room and the real issues were never debated. The tough questions were never asked. You get surface level consensus, but you never get true commitment.
And that's because you simply cannot have that healthy, constructive debate without the absolute foundation of any high-performing team: trust. And we're not just talking about predictive trust, as in, I trust you'll deliver that report on time. We're talking about something much deeper: vulnerability-based trust.
Can you unpack that a bit more, Granger? What does that really look like in a team day-to-day?
It's the ability for team members to be completely, genuinely open with one another, to admit weaknesses, to acknowledge they don't have the answer, to say, I messed up or I need help, without any fear of it being seen as a weakness or used against them. It's the difference between a group of colleagues and a truly cohesive team.
And without that, as Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions pyramid clearly shows, you get a fear of conflict. People hold back, they play politics, they protect their own position rather than fighting for the best collective outcome. And for a scaling business, that's a death knell.
It absolutely is. Just think about that statistic from the source document. Only 4% of businesses ever make it past that initial stage where the founder can be involved in every decision. The other 96 get stuck.
And the founder becomes the bottleneck. They're the chief problem solver, the fixer of everything. They're working harder and harder, but the business isn't really growing. It's because the team is stuck in helper mode. They are waiting to be told what to do.
Exactly. The shift from that founder-dependent model to a self-governing team is impossible without constructive conflict. You need a team that can debate strategy, challenge assumptions, and hold each other to high standards, without the founder having to be the sole driver and referee.
It's the only way to get true buy-in and create a culture that can scale beyond one person's capacity. So let's talk about the leader's role in this. It has to start at the top.
Without question, the leader's behavior dictates what is and isn't safe. The Nelson Mandela example is so powerful because of its simplicity. By deliberately choosing to speak last, he sent a clear signal: your voices matter. I am here to listen first and speak last. It creates immediate psychological safety.
It empowers everyone in the room. Compare that to the leader who kicks off a meeting by saying, here's what I think we should do. Any thoughts? The debate is often over before it begins. It's a statement seeking validation, not a question seeking input.
And the David Marquet story in Turn the Ship Around takes this a step further. It's not just about listening, it's about actively pushing ownership down into the team. By insisting on the phrase, I intend to, he forced his crew to use their own intelligence and expertise.
And that naturally creates a space for healthy challenge. If a junior officer says, Captain, I intend to submerge the ship, another crew member can now ask, are you sure that's a good idea, given the sonar readings? It becomes a debate about the best course of action, not about obeying an order.
But the Alan Mulally example at Ford is perhaps the ultimate case study in cultural transformation. Imagine that room: a new CEO, a company losing billions, and a culture so toxic that nobody would admit a single problem. The fear was palpable.
And for him to not just accept the first red flag, but to applaud it, it completely short-circuited the entire fear-based system. He rewarded the very behavior that was previously punished. He made it safe to be honest, and that changed everything. So
that's when the real work began, because once the truth was on the table, they could have the necessary conflicts about how to fix it. Without truth, any conflict is just noise.
So trust is the soil. The leader's behavior is the sunlight and water. What are the tools you can use to actually structure these conversations and keep them productive?
Lencioni's Conflict Continuum is the map. It helps you visualize the goal. You're trying to stay out of the ditch of artificial harmony on one side and the ditch of mean-spirited personal attacks on the other. You're aiming for that energetic, productive middle ground of ideological conflict.
And some practical tactics can help. For instance, making space for all voices. Not everyone is a fast verbal processor. The introverts or deep thinkers on your team might need time. Allowing for silent brainstorming with sticky notes or written input before a debate ensures their valuable perspectives aren't lost in the noise.
That's a great point. It's about separating ideas from people, and language is key here. Using a phrase like Daniel Priestley's permission to lock horns is a brilliant way to frame it. It's an explicit agreement to engage in robust debate without egos getting in the way. And on the flip side, it's important for leaders to recognize the warning signs of unhealthy conflict. It's not always loud arguments. Sometimes it's the quiet that's more dangerous.
And as you said earlier, Granger, this isn't just theory. We've seen these principles in action with our own ScaleUp Radio guests. Dr. Tarek Jomar's emphasis on psychological safety for true collaboration is a direct reflection of this.
Absolutely. And Sam White's zero tolerance policy for back-channel complaints is a masterclass in building a culture of direct, honest communication. She understands that unresolved underground conflict is what turns toxic. By forcing it into the open, she ensures it stays constructive and the business moves forward.
So to summarize for our listeners, if you feel like you're the bottleneck in your own business, if you're frustrated that your team isn't more proactive, the answer might lie in your culture around conflict.
Ask yourself, have we built the vulnerability-based trust required for honest debate? As a leader, am I modeling the behavior that makes it safe to challenge the status quo? Do we have the tools and language to argue well?
Because a team that can engage in constructive conflict is a team that can solve its own problems, make better decisions, and ultimately scale. It is a true competitive advantage. And on that note, that's all our time for today on ScaleUp Radio Shorts.
Thank you for listening. To discover more about the Smart 90 system and how it can help you build a more cohesive and scalable business, please visit smart90.co.uk.